Welcome everyone, and let's cover one of the key things that certainly our textbook doesn't cover, and that many kind of intro videos really just don't go through very much. And there's this idea that if I'm looking at a drawing from say 2 feet away, maybe further than I can read individual pieces of annotation, it should be very clear what is building, very clear what is building outline, and that should be what's called the top priority. Annotation should be an important topic, so it should take a priority. And these surface patterns, like these bricks, are just not important. It's important to know that it's brick, but it should not be the thing that jumps out at us from the drawing. So far in our sessions, I want to come back and highlight what a printed drawing looks like. So I'm going to bring back up Bluebeam, and we're going to look at a PDF of kind of a week 1 file that was in the first sessions. And if I don't zoom in at this at all, quite honestly, the only thing that really shows up on this view is this really dark, solid, black box. We don't want to see that. What we want to see is a nice clean building outline and some dimensions, and the same thing down in this elevation that is showing exterior walls. So how do we show that in a way that we keep clarity and don't end up printing out this ridiculous, just big, thick black box? So here's how we do that. We want the brick, the CMU, and any of these things to do with these exterior walls in our project, we want them to fade into the background. And when you want things to fade into the background and your drawing is in black and white, you make those things that you want to fade into the background gray. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to activate this view, and I'm going to just click on this wall. And in here, I'm going to edit this wall type, and I'm going to edit the structure. And in this dialog box, and we've chatted about this just a little bit, are the materials that make up the wall. For instance, on the outside of the wall, above this CMU is this brick. Well, and below the brick is this couple rows of CMU. The material properties are editable. So we're going to do the brick here. So I'm going to click into this brick, and this small ellipsis here allows me to open up a new dialog box and edit what the brick looks like. And here's what it is by default. So by default, Revit says that the foreground should have a brick pattern and the color of the brick pattern should be black. And if I cut through the brick, the foreground hatch pattern should be a diagonal and it should be black, and there's no background pattern. So here's what we're going to do. Whenever we see a surface pattern in Revit material, we're going to change that to a light gray background. I'm sorry, light gray hatch or surface pattern. So I'm going to do this and click OK, and you can even see the preview updates. So I'm going to click Apply and OK, and I'm going to click OK here and OK, and deselect my wall. And now in Revit, when I zoom in really close, I can see, at least on my screen, that these bricks are a light gray as opposed to the black of the CMU. Okay, so I absolutely want to change also the CMU to gray as well. Oh, and so let's hover this. Because I changed how the natural material looks, I have changed how it looks in every single view in my project. Notice it didn't change this is the brick, and this is where it's cut, and it's that diagonal hatch, and that's still black. Let's see, where else does this show up? Let me go to, well, let me go back to week 2. Here's week 2. Here's what this building looked like in week 2. And of course, I need to clean it up now, but the walls are gray here too. I've changed how the material itself will represent wherever the material is. Okay, so CMU. So let's update the CMU. So I could, again, activate this view and click on this wall, but I'm going to choose to show us the other way. And I'm going to go to Manage tab, and I have a materials icon. In other words, I can manage what my materials look like. So I'm going to click on this, and up in this search bar, I'm going to type C, and right away, Revit tries to adjust these alphabetically for my search. If I get to CMU, you can see that I get this concrete masonry unit as part of my search. So I'm going to click into this material. I see that it's a block 8x16, right? That's, quote, the pattern. And the color of the pattern is black. I'm going to click into the black, change it to this standard light gray, click OK, and I don't need to change anything in the cuts. Click OK, click, and notice that the CMU now on screen is gray. Okay. So it's, by the way, this light gray is hardly visible in Revit, but when I print this to a PDF, it is going to show up, and it's going to show up just fine. Okay, so this is a really core task to take on. It's pretty straightforward, but it's something that I expect everyone to do. Again, if I bring up Bluebeam, I do not want to see drawings coming in with big black boxes for every elevation, right? We need to actually see what the detail of the wall is. And the only way to do that is to change these surface patterns to that light gray. Okay, so important, pretty straightforward. Once you do it once, that's the only time you're going to need to do it in a project. And, well, quite frankly, that sort of makes it a little bit difficult, because if you only do it very rarely, it's easy to forget that it's needed to be done. So that's something that I'll keep track of you guys on, and be able to see work and be able to give you feedback. So I'm going to close out this session, and I think that's going to finish Chapter 3 work for me. I'll kind of finish up some of the other views off camera and come back, and we'll be able to begin the next chapter, which is Chapter 4. And in there, we'll be building internal walls and copying them up to floor 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hope this is helpful, and we'll see you then.